I'd like to introduce Jim Coyne of the National Air Transportation Association. I was one of the first through the Safety First program a long time ago, and I'm grateful for having had that. It's made FBO ramps a lot more secure these days, so thank you for that, and I'll hand it over.
Well, thank you very much for those nice introductory remarks. It's a real pleasure to be here, and I in addition to being the president of NATA, I also serve as chairman of a council over at the General Aviation Serves America campaign. And we had our big day on the Hill yesterday evening in Washington, and we had our national spokesperson, Harrison Ford, come to the U.S. Capitol and meet with the members of the General Aviation Caucus in the Capitol. And I can tell you, it's amazing to see very distinguished senators and congressmen acting like teenagers around a movie star. And I know Harrison Ford has a special spot in your heart, and of course last night you had a video about his plane here in the museum. He did want for me to just tell you also about the good things that you're doing and his little role in Haiti. We were just hearing so much about the wonderful work that CARE has done. Harrison Ford flew his plane from Wyoming all the way to Haiti, did the same thing that you did, found out that the smart thing to do was to go back and forth between Dominican Republic, was flying back and forth from the Dominican Republic to Jacmel and Port-au-Prince and the other cities. And he said it was amazing to go into one of the airports and there was somebody there that sounded very official on the airport radio and was asking about his permission, and over the radio comes, "This is Harrison Ford. I have special permission to land." And he admitted to us there in the audience yesterday, he said he didn't have any more special permission than anybody, but they accepted him. He got in with his relief. But you know, the amazing thing is we have people like him and others. I think of Don Campion, one of the NATA former board members down at Fort Lauderdale, who played such an integral role in helping provide fuel and services to the airplanes going to Haiti. And these men and women, they didn't do it for PR reasons. They didn't do it to get headlines in the newspapers. They did it because they could, they knew how, they wanted to serve. And I really think that you are to be credited here today for your efforts on Aviation Saves. When I think about it, I almost think that maybe we should have said, instead of General Aviation Serves America, we should have said General Aviation Saves America. Because in many, many ways, that is what we're doing. We are saving America's spirit. We're saving America's freedom. We're saving America's economy. Most of all, we're saving America's future. And I think it's really, really important for all of us to work together to achieve that. But I'd like to spend a special moment to show some recognition to the local political leaders who are here today. You stood up a little bit before, and I'd like to direct my remarks a little bit to you because you are so important in this process. I started out as a local supervisor of a township in Pennsylvania. Then, of course, went on to serve in the U.S. Congress. And now I have gone full circle. I'm on an airport commission. And I know how hard, believe me, I know how hard it is to be an airport commissioner in today's political world, where everybody on the planet has an opinion, and everyone has a better idea, and everybody has a need and a role to play. But I want to direct my remarks to you because what you can do is save America's airports and preserve American airports. And that is so terribly important. Bob Olleslocker remembers, I guess it was 12 years ago, when NATA made a list of the 100 most needed airports in America. And Centennial Airport was number 2. Meigs Airport in Chicago was number 1. I think we all know what happened to Meigs Field. And we think, when we look at an airport like this and we say, oh, it's impossible that a political community could not appreciate this. It's impossible that citizens could not understand how obvious it is that this airport is essential. Well, we thought that about Meigs Field, and we came to learn the hard way how a dictator essentially can destroy an airport. I want to share with you another story about a city in the East. A lot of people talk about aviation as being essential to rural America, and absolutely it is. And we've heard some excellent remarks about that and the efforts that are being done across the country about reminding rural America and their political leaders how important aviation is. But it's also important in urban America, and sometimes we forget that. I'm from Philadelphia, and there's a little town across the river in Philadelphia called Camden. Many of you have never maybe heard of Camden. I'm sure the vast majority of you have never been to Camden. Camden, 50 years ago, was one of the leading cities in America. It was the home of RCA Victor. It was the home of Campbell Soup. It was the home of Sun Shipbuilding. It had one of the highest per capita incomes of any city in the United States. And it had an airport right in the middle of Camden at what they used to call Airport Circle, just about a mile from the Delaware River. And the political leaders in Camden, about 50 years ago, were approached by a real estate developer, and he said, "Oh, I've got this beautiful vision of this big shopping mall that I can put where your airport is." And I don't know how he persuaded the political leaders to do what they did, but that airport became a shopping mall. The street that the shopping mall is on is still called Airport Circle. But the airport's not there because they said, "Oh, well, we've got an airport just across the river in Philadelphia. We don't need one here in Camden. We got another one in North Philadelphia. We don't need one here in Camden. We'll do without our airport." Well, you go back to Camden today, and there is nothing there anymore. The shopping mall is abandoned. The city, for all intents and purposes, is abandoned. It went bankrupt, the city of Camden, about 12 years ago. It now has literally one of the lowest per capita incomes of any city in the United States. And they thought that they didn't need their airport. They thought there was one just down the road that would be just as good. But when you look, as we all do, flying across the country, look down at the geography of America, and you look at where the airports are, and you look at where the economic development of our nation is, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that these airports are the center of America today. They are the center of the economic development. They're the center of the demographic growth. They're the center of the entrepreneurial spirits of our community. So many businessmen and women in America, when they have a new business that they want to locate somewhere, where do they look around for real estate to locate their business? They say, "Oh, I'd really like to be really close to an airport so I can get in and out in my airplane, or I can buy an airplane sometime to serve my business needs." They know that airport communities are where the creation in America is taking place today. Now, 70 years ago, NATA was started by men and women like you here because there was a threat to aviation and airports across the country as our government proposed to do away with a lot of this financial support for general aviation in 1940. And NATA came together, and these business leaders said, "We've got to stand up as a community and fight this. Not for our own businesses, not for any selfish interest, but because we know that the growth of aviation is essential to the growth of our nation." And we were successful 70 years ago, and today we continue to be successful. And when you look at an airport like Centennial, and you look at the jobs that are here, NATA's members, we probably have as many NATA members at this airport as we have at any airport in the country. Hundreds and hundreds of jobs right at this airport, men and women who are betting their futures and their families' futures on the growth and the development of this airport. So to you, the leaders of the Airport Commission chairman, the others, I want to say first, and I'm probably the only one who said this today, but I think I'm speaking for all of us, thank you for saving Centennial in the past, because it was threatened. Thank you for preparing for its future, because you and us together, we know that aviation saves. Thanks very much.